Today we're going to be talking about renovation loans, specifically the 203K loan. The FHA 203K loan is a form of financing that allows the buyer to purchase a property and to finance any rehab work that needs to be completed into one loan. Typically, if you were to buy a home that costs $500,000 with a 3.5% down payment at $17,500, and if the house needed about $100,000 worth of repairs, you would have to pay for that out of your pocket. But with a 203K loan, you could finance the purchase of $500 and the renovations of $100, so that you only have to come up with one down payment of 3.5% for the total amount. So you'd have the down payment of 3.5% on $600,000, and now your down payment's $21,000. This saves you from having to come up with a $100,000 down payment. How do FHA 203K loans work? An FHA 203K loan is backed by the Federal Housing Administration, and it allows for both 15-year fixed rate options and 30-year fixed rate options. The loan can be applied to labor and material when a contractor is doing the work. Because this loan is insured by the government, it comes with more flexible underwriting guidelines and qualifications. You will have to qualify for a 203K loan just like any other loan based on your income, assets, and credit. The renovation for a 203K loan must be started within 30 days of closing on your home, and it must be completed within 6 months of you closing. When getting a 203K loan, there's a streamlined 203K and a standard 203K. The difference is the amount of money of repairs needed. For a streamlined 203K loan, anything below $35,000 of work would qualify. If the property needs more than $35,000, you're going to be looking at a full 203K loan. A 203K streamline requires less documentation to qualify and close your loan. When getting a 203K streamline, there are 2 draws. The first draw happens at closing and is for half the amount of renovation work that's needed. The second draw is paid once the work is fully completed. One thing to note with a 203K streamline is that you can't repair any major structural damage to the property. A standard 203K loan is for any job that requires more than $35,000 worth of work. For standard 203K loans, you'll need a HUD consultant on the job to look out for your best interest. It's the HUD consultant's job to make sure that the contractor isn't taking advantage of you as a borrower, and that the cost of labor and materials are in line with what the market is currently seeing. If you need a recommendation for a HUD consultant, you want to ask your lender. Here's what a 203K loan can be used for. You can improve a home's curb appeal. You can install or repair roofing and flooring. You can make a home more energy efficient, fix any health or safety hazards with the home, enhance a home's accessibility or functionality. You could fix plumbing and waste systems, any landscaping or grounds work that needs to be completed. You could repair the gutters and any downspouts, and you can renovate and modernize the home. For example, if you wanted to redo a kitchen or bathroom, that would be allowed. Now here's what isn't allowed with a 203K loan. Any luxuries such as a swimming pool, hot tub, outdoor fireplace, satellite dish, or barbecue pit are not deemed eligible expenses by the FHA under the 203K loan. As a general rule, any upgrade that won't improve the functionality of the home is not going to be allowed with a 203K loan. So jacuzzis, pools, none of that works. What do you need to qualify for a 203K loan? It's very similar to a regular FHA loan in some aspects. The lender is going to look at your income, assets, and credit. For income, you have to qualify on a debt-to-income ratio. For your assets, you're going to need a minimum down payment of 3.5% if you have better than a 580 credit. If your credit score is 500 to 580, you're going to need 10% as a down payment. Now, some lenders will have overlays for minimum credit score required to qualify for this loan. Although the guideline states 580 for a 3.5% down payment, some lenders might require that you have a 620 credit score to qualify. I get asked this question a lot, is whether can I do the work myself when buying a home with a 203K loan? And the answer is no. You need to have a license and insured general contractor to complete all the repairs and renovations for the loan. One thing that a lot of people don't know is that you can refinance your home with a 203K loan. So if you have a large renovation to your property, for example, your house is worth $500,000, you owe about $450,000, but you want to put on an addition that'll make it worth $700,000. You can't do a cash out refinance or a home equity line of credit because you don't have enough equity today. However, with a 203K loan, we could use the home's future appraised value once the work is complete to help you get the loan. Refinancing your loan is like any other refinance. Now, if you already have a 203K loan and it's been 6 months and you're looking to refinance out of it, you can refinance to a streamline or a conventional loan. What we see a lot of clients do is buy a home with a 203K loan, fix up the property, renovate it, wait 6 months to use the after repair value, and then do a refinance, whether a cash out, where they can pull money out or equity that they've built up, or a rate and term refinance just to drop the interest rate, get rid of private mortgage insurance, and lock in a new 30-year mortgage. Here are the pros of a 203K loan. You could qualify with a lower credit score and a lower down payment. A 203K loan will also provide temporary housing while your home is being repaired. You can finance up to 6 months of mortgage payments into your 203K loan. So if you buy a home, you don't have to make a payment like you typically would a month after you close. You can finance the first 6 months into your loan so that you're not paying for a house that you're not living in. A 203K loan typically has lower interest rates than a similar conventional rehab loan. The biggest pro of them all is that you can finance both the purchase and the renovation work. Otherwise, you'd have to come up for the cash for the renovation. There are some negatives with a 203K loan. The first is that it requires an upfront mortgage insurance premium that all FHA loans require. The actual application process and the time to close an FHA 203K loan is typically longer than a regular FHA loan. The main reason is that there are more parties involved and there's more paperwork with obtaining this kind of loan. The reason is you need to get documentation from a contractor, you need to get a scope of work on the project, a bid list breaking down labor and materials, and other forms that are required by HUD and FHA. 203K loans can't be used for an investment property. They have to be used for a primary residence. The good news is that you could buy a 2, 3, or 4 unit property, renovate those units, live in one of them for a year, and then move out and rent out the whole property. And the final con that I listed here, just because it's an expense, it might not actually be a con, is you have to work with a HUD consultant. A HUD consultant has your best interest in mind, but they do cost money, typically $1,000 to $1,500 for a 203K loan. So what's the difference between a conventional rehab loan and an FHA 203K loan? A conventional rehab loan is typically going to have a higher amount of money you need for a down payment and have a higher minimum credit score requirement. The positive with a conventional loan is that you can typically do more luxurious upgrades to your house. FHA does not allow for any upgrades such as a pool, jacuzzi, anything that doesn't make the house function better. FHA typically won't allow. Conventional rehab loans will also have more stringent application requirements and they'll have higher interest rates. If you're buying a 2 to 4 unit property, your best bet is an FHA 203K loan because your down payment is 3.5% versus a conventional loan, you'd be looking at 15 to 20% as a down payment. An FHA 203K loan is great for those that want to build a portfolio of rental units in the future. It's a great way to buy a 2 to 4 unit property, live in one of the units, get money from the lender to rehab those units, build equity, then refinance out and rent all of the units out after you move out after 1 year. Here's a real life example of a client who bought a 2 unit with an FHA 203K loan 2 years ago. They bought the home for $260,000. They put $50,000 of work into the property, so their basis was $310,000. They had a down payment of $10,850. The rehab took about 4 months to complete and then they moved into it. They financed those 4 months into the FHA 203K loan. The after repair value of the property once the work was complete was $375,000. After a year, they moved out and rented out both units. The upstairs unit that they didn't live in rented for $1,900, and the unit that they lived in on the first floor ended up renting for $2,200. So they're now collecting $4,100 of income. They refinanced to a 30-year conventional mortgage. Their total payment, including taxes, insurance, and principal and interest, is $2,550, and they're cash flowing close to $1,200 a month after maintenance and repairs. They've also built about $65,000 worth of equity, and if they had wanted to, they could have pulled a home equity line of credit out and used that money to go buy another investment property. I've also had clients use a 203K loan multiple times to buy properties that they're going to live in, renovate them, refinance to a conventional loan, or sell the property. You can only have one FHA loan out at a time. But if you refinance your property to a conventional loan or you sell that property, you're now eligible to get another 203K loan. So you can repeat this process multiple times over multiple years. A 203K loan is great for a home buyer that has a vision of what a property can become. You could buy a dilapidated or beat up property, maybe something that needs just a little bit of TLC, use either a streamlined 203K loan or a standard to renovate the property, get it to its full potential, and then refinance out to a conventional loan and repeat the process again if you'd like. A 203K loan is a great opportunity for first-time investors that want to grow their portfolio to buy a property, live in one of the units, rehab it, and then cash out refinance and repeat the process again. If you have any questions on a 203K loan, leave a comment below and I'd be happy to help.